Welcome to tonight's meditation talk. I'm Miss Macy, in case you're watching on the internet first somewhere. And Steve out of town, so it's a pleasure of being able to stand here and share some of the knowledge that he has passed to me through readings and through just our general conversations in the philosophy that we teach here, which is, Zen meditation. So I'm starting from the question of the week, which is, what are some things you can see yourself always enjoying, no matter how old you get? So I titled this talk, The Joy of Getting Old, because, why not enjoy yourself when you get old? It's like the fun thing to do, and it allows you to experience the fullness of life, and allows you to really take advantage of being here and being on this planet and allowing ourselves to just thrive while we're here. Why not, right? If we have a choice, why not? And I like that, and I like finding all of those things that we can do. And there's many, many different things that we can do that can bring us joy. And a lot of them are going to be things like spending time with friends, spending time with loved ones, doing the things that you love, probably some martial arts or some Tai Chi, some meditation, those things. Why not continue those things into, later on into life too? And perhaps there's other pursuits that you have. Perhaps you really enjoy reading. Perhaps you can see yourself doing that until your eyesight fades, and then you listen to audiobooks and you can continue listening to stories and developing and learning and doing all those things that make life interesting as you participate in life. And I came across a quote a couple of weeks ago from James M. Barrie. And he wrote Peter Pan. So I'm sure you're familiar with the story of Peter Pan. The boy in the Never Land, and he never grows up and just enjoys life and fights Captain Hook and things like that. But James Barrie wrote, the secret of happiness is not in doing what one likes, but in liking what one does. So I'm like, well, what if I applied that to being able to enjoy my life? And what if I found the joy in everything that I do in my life for the rest of my life? Why not? So it seemed like a really good direction to come at to enjoy life. So I'm like, I like this. I really like this. And one of the things about Zen is that it's always about being here, being right now, and being with what is, right? And allowing ourselves to sink into the experience of now. And there's a lot of mundane, monotonous stuff that happens in life. We have to eat every day. We have to, get up and get dressed every day. We have to brush our teeth every day. There's a lot of stuff that we have to do every day. And if you add up all that stuff that we have to do every day, and we're not enjoying that time that we spend doing all of that mundane stuff, there's a lot of life that we're not actually enjoying. Right? So if we look at it from, well, how can we enjoy the stuff that we do every day? How can we? It's a great question, and allows us to sink into enjoying life and whatever it is that we're doing right here, right now, in every single moment. There's a passage in, I've got Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki, who is, if you haven't read this book, it's really phenomenal. It's very, it just sinks into simplicity with Zen. And it's very easy to find something in here that will call to you and speak to you in terms of Zen practice. So I've chosen a little section in here, which I'm going to read. And it's in the section about right attitude and repetition. So he's talking about, not reading the whole thing, but he's talking about the way that when the Buddha grew up, the way to enlightenment was through being an ascetic, which is really getting rid of any bodily needs and things like that. They used to not eat all the time. They didn't used to sleep. They used to like kind of eschew any of the bodily needs and things like that that we have as human beings. And you used to see all of these practitioners who were like basically wasting away. They were dying because they were starving themselves. And the Buddha's way was quite different. At first, he studied the Hindu practice of his time and area, and he practiced asceticism. But Buddha was not interested in the elements comprising human beings, nor in metaphysical theories of existence. He was more concerned about how he himself existed in this moment. That was his point. Bread is made from flour. And now how flour becomes bread when put in the oven was for Buddha the most important thing. How he become enlightened was his main interest. The enlightened person is some perfect, desirable character for himself and for others. Buddha wanted to find out how human beings develop this ideal character, how various sages in the past became sages. In order to find out how dough became perfect bread, he made it over and over again until he became quite successful. And that was his practice. But we may find it not so interesting to cook the same thing over and over again every day. It is rather tedious, indeed, you may say. If you lose the spirit of repetition, it will become quite difficult, but it will not be difficult if you're full of strength and vitality. Anyway, we cannot keep still. We have to do something. So if you do something, you should be very observant and careful and alert. Our way is to put the dough in the oven and watch it carefully. Once you know how the dough becomes bread, you will understand enlightenment. So how this physical body becomes a sage is our main interest. We're not so concerned about what flour is, or what dough is, or what a sage is. A sage is a sage. And metaphysical explanations of human nature are not the point. So the kind of practice we stress thus cannot be too idealistic. If an artist becomes too idealistic, he will commit suicide. I hope not. Because between his ideal and his actual ability, there's a great gap. And because there's no bridge long enough to go across the gap, he'll begin to despair. And that is the usual spiritual way. But our spiritual way is not so idealistic. In some sense, we should be idealistic. At least we should be interested in making bread, which tastes and looks good. Actual practice is repeating over and over again until you find out how to become the bread. And there's no secret in our way, just to practice zazen and put ourselves in the oven is our way. So here he's talking about just repeating, right? Our practice is repeating. Our practice is being here right now, paying attention to very carefully what is happening for us right here and right now, and repeating that again and again and again. And so we do that by paying attention to the breath while we meditate. But we can also do that in our everyday lives too. You know, when I was speaking about we have to brush our teeth, we have to get dressed, we have to make food. All of these things are an opportunity for us to be present, and they're an opportunity for us to bring joy into our lives, if we so choose. So I invite you tonight to take a moment as we sit to allow ourselves to just be in the moment right here and right now, and to allow the repetition of our breath to invite us into paying attention carefully, to invite us into being aware of what's there and what's not, and allowing ourselves to sink into the joy of that. So that's my invitation tonight. We're going to sit for a while